There's something that resonates with me every time I put on these colors. It's important to me because I believe in the entity that is the Raiders. Mm-hmm. You see, there's something that is very, very, very special to me. And so what I try to do is try to carry over that passion to the fans. And more importantly, to give them, a sign of hope that things are going to turn around. Everybody wants to win. And as a former player, I try to exude that passion.
What's up, Raider Nation? We back. Guess what? It's your host, Baron Davis, and this is Raiders Talk of the Nation, and we're here with another Raider legend, offensive tackle, the man behind the voice of the Raiders, my guy. He's teaching me everything about football I need to know. Lincoln Kennedy, give it up.
BD, good to be here with you, man. How you doing, bud?
He's so cool, man.
They got to be cool, bro. Cool. This old age, man, ain't no reason. I'm not one that's going to run down the hill. I'm going to walk down the hill my steady way. I'm an old man, OG.
Tell us the importance of the offensive line, the intelligence, all the things that's needed.
Well, yeah, the intelligence is well represented by our play because in order to do what we have to do, we have to be somewhat intelligent. It's not that simplified notion that I sort of, put over in defense, see ball, get ball. Yeah. It's a little bit more complex than that. So, but, the thing is that the best thing for an offensive lineman is not to be known. Don't get your name called. Yeah. Don't get your number called. You see what I'm saying? Because when your number's called, it's usually for a penalty or something like that.
Yeah.
The less you hear about the offensive line, the better. Because if the team is effective and the team is winning, you're not going to talk about the offensive line because you already know you got that taken care of. So, that's just it. We're those unsung heroes that I prefer to, remain in the shadow rather in the spotlight. We don't need all the glamour that the running backs and the quarterbacks and those ball carriers get. We don't need all that. We do our thing, and just do it well.
Walk us through early days, Washington, I'm a Bruin.
Yeah.
Washington, national championship, getting drafted to the league. What was that like? What was that experience for you?
I grew up surrounded by music. And my first love was playing the trumpet in the band.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got discovered. I was actually at the high school halftime show at 9th grade, and the high school coach saw me and was like, wait a minute, you're a big kid. What are you doing in the band? You need to come out for football. The rest is history. But I was born and raised around music, so that was my first love. And then getting into football was just a way for me to get out of the hood. Growing up in Southeast San Diego, It was an opportunity for me to go to college. And there hadn't been many people in my family that had done it before me. So this was a big thing for my mother. And I graduated from high school fairly young because they said I was somewhat intelligent. I don't know about that. But anyways, graduated young, and my mom just didn't want to let me go to college. It was a big step. I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to get out of California. That's why I went to Washington. And then it was a great experience. I was on an unbelievable ride. We had success I really didn't expect us to have, or I didn't really know because I didn't know much about the game when I first got into it. And so college years were very enlightening for me. Had the fortune of going in the first round to Atlanta. And, that was an experience in itself because though I enjoyed the city of Atlanta, I did not enjoy my experience with the Falcons. At the end of my third year, the Raiders made a trade for me and I was gung-ho. They were moving back to Oakland. I was looking forward to it. Growing up in San Diego, I always heard about the Oakland Raiders, more so than the LA Raiders.
Yeah.
And so this was a nice challenge. It was a welcome challenge. And Al Davis and the Davis family really took care of me, really made me happy. It was a great place to be for me, especially our time in Oakland. We had some success, but to this day, I bleed silver and black. It's just the way I do it.
Talk about that first time walking into, the stadium. What did that feel?
I tell you what, it was all the experience from coming to the Coliseum and parking in a player's lot and seeing all those fans out there for tailgate, right?
Yeah.
Right. Didn't matter our record.
Right.
Didn't matter how we did. They were there and they were coming out. It was a very nice welcome for me because I didn't expect that type of fanfare. It really drove me to be the best player that I could be because I wanted to do it for them. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to show them that we were worth it, the price of admission. Saw people who were working hard, blue collar people who really, really enjoyed seeing their team.
Yes.
So without a doubt, I wanted to go out there and put the best effort forward every time I could.
There's a certain aura
Absolutely.
to Bay Area fans. Same with the Warriors.
Absolutely.
Riding in the parking lot, you see the tailgate. When you see the people, you know that those are real fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they really want you to win. They really want to see you succeed. And then they're off. They don't bother you, right? They're just like, you are a part of our community. You're a part of our team.
It provided a sense, a presence of security. It really did. You know, when you walked into that stadium, you knew you were home. And you knew that everybody, 65,000 fans, however they were that turned out, were going to defend that home. And so I felt like a stand-up guy. I mean, it really did. I felt like I had a connection with them. The bond was my performance on the football field, and hopefully it translated well enough to why I would be welcomed with open arms when I went into the stands or when I went out to the public.
Yeah.
And it carried over even after my playing days when I started covering the Raiders with the media aspect, you know, just walking through the parking lot. It's a different parking lot. We're not in the same player parking lot, different parking lot, but walking around and just hanging around with the tailgaters.
When was that moment where you're like, oh, this is what it means to be a Raider? Can you draw back on? Like when it hits you, like, I'm here. Yeah, I'm a Raider.
Yeah, it hit pretty early because even my first year with the Raiders was 96. And Mike White was the coach at the time. You know, I had a great conversation with Al Davis when I got traded over. He said, now that you're a Raider for life, go out there and do your thing. And that reinforced my confidence inside me. So it was a measure that when I saw the eyes of the people that were watching us, and I felt their pain when we lost. I felt their jubilation when we won. You know what I'm saying? The Raider Nation is true fandom. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the best known sports fan bases in sports history, and rightfully so. I mean, it's up there with the Dodgers, the Lakers, the Yankees and stuff like that. It's up there. It gave me a little bit of zip to try to play that much harder for that fan base, especially when we're at home. And it carried over even after my playing days. And when I went into the media side, it still carried over because now I'm meeting sons and you know, fathers and sons that the father might have met me and he's looking all of them glossy eyes. He's like, you know who that is? That's like your Kenny. And the kids don't know who I am because they weren't born when I played, but it just translates. That is true fandom when you hand it down from generation to generation. You got grandfathers, grandmothers, everything. I mean, all the kids that ain't even seen a football game, they're born into it. And just like with my kids, my kids didn't have a choice. You're a Raider fan, whether you like it or not.
Right. Talk about respect in the trenches. What is like?
Respect is not given; it's earned.
Yeah.
You know, my greatest stat is that you can go to anyone in the top 10 of all sack leaders in the National Football League. I never gave a sack up to any of them. But I mean, it's not. I mean, it is what it is. I took pride in what I did when I prepared for the greats like Bruce Smith and Reggie White. Those guys, I prepared like there was no tomorrow. Yeah. That was the game because. And it was a mutual respect.
Yep.
I would go out there and tell all those guys, look, with all due respect, like I told Reggie one time when we played him, and this was towards the tail end of his career. I said, with all due respect, Mr. White, I'm not going to be part of your highlight film.
That's it.
I'm just keeping it real. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it real.
Ain't happening here.
I'm going to do whatever I can. And I could be, I don't necessarily think people deem me dirty, but I had some tricks. Oh yeah, I'll jab you in the throat. I'll poke you in the eye. I'll do whatever I can. That's just how I am. That's how I've always been. And you know, so anyone who followed me, anybody who watched me knew that I was always a man about my business.
Yes.
I took care of business.
Yep.
And between when it came in the trenches, that was my home. This is my domain. You're not going to come in and disrupt what we do. You know, sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. You know the sport is. Yeah. You're not going to win them all.
You're not going to win them all.
Those guys get paid over there. You know what I mean?
Nice too.
Yeah, exactly. They got some game too.
Everybody here for a reason.
Absolutely, right. True story, right?
And they nice. Who are some of your favorite teammates?
One of my best teammates, closest friends, is no longer with us, Mo Collins, who was my guard. Mo was drafted out of Florida, and I remember when Al Davis drafted him, first round pick, he says, Al said, I want you to groom him. I want you to make him another you. And Mo and I knocked heads at first because Mo knew how connected I was to the business side of the game, the corporate side of the game. And Mo just thought I was like, dude, you're not, you're one of them. You're not one of us, until I won his favor. And then after that, we became thick as thieves. I mean, we were tight. After we got over that knock, we were like brothers knocking at each other. After we got over that, we were great. But, you know, I had a lot of great friends. You have that certain nucleus of guys that you rely on. You know what I'm saying? That you could pick up the phone anytime, call on, they'll be there.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how our lines were.
Yeah.
And it made it a point to keep it that way. When I came into this, to the Raiders, Wiz was already there, Kevin Gogan was already there. There were already some established guys that were there. But one thing that I got in line with them after recognizing the natural hierarchy that was within the Raiders locker room, one thing when I got in line with them, I knew that I could collect favor because they knew I was about my business. Yeah. And they were about their business. And so when you have those like minds, they come together and they gel. You know what I'm saying? So
they formed
like
that personality.
Absolutely.
Y'all had, you guys had an incredible personality, especially making that Super Bowl run. Like, talk about that chemistry, because I'm learning now, just in football, that linebackers meet, the running backs meet, the linemen meet, and y'all all have separate coaching, and I guess y'all come together. Like, basketball is different.
Yeah, it's a little
we just
different.
practice, go play. Yeah. Practice, go play. Right.
Well, because you rely on the same five for offense that you do in defense. Yeah. The hierarchy that was within the system of the Raiders is that everybody had their group, their collective group, did their own thing, but we came together on game day. The thing that I was most responsible as a captain of the offensive line was that when we came together, were we about our business? Did we know what we were supposed to do collectively? So I prided myself in being a student of the game. I not only knew what I needed to do at right tackle, but I knew what my right guard, center, left guard, left tackle. I even knew what the receivers did. I knew Rich's progression. I knew what the backs were supposed to do because I prided myself on being a student of the game. So when I walked out on the field, there was no rock that was going to be left unturned if necessary. And if I saw a blitz, I'm calling out, "Hey, Rich, we got a hot, this guy's backed up by, the corner's backed up by a safety, he's coming," that type of thing. Adjust our protection. And that was something I took pride in.
Yep.
And I wanted that to be, that level of accountability to resonate with my teammates. And that's one reason why we were so successful, because they all had that same passion. The best thing about that, BD, was that I needed my quarterback to feel secure.
Yeah.
That to your right, you were protected.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about this. And that was a level of comfort I tried to ensure in all the players and all the teammates that I had. Whether you're carrying the ball as a running back or a quarterback, that 72 is going to take care of his business over there for as long as he could.
Talk to me about Al Davis. You mentioned, he said, "Welcome to the Raiders. You're a Raider for life." Talk about
the greatest story that I have with Al is when I came out of college in 1993. I was playing in the East-West Shrine game. We were practicing at Stanford Stadium, the Farm. And it came after a practice where I walked up the hill and I saw Al Davis at a distance. "Mr. Davis, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Lincoln Kennedy, University of Washington." And Al said, "We know who you are. You're probably not going to be available when we have our draft pick," because they were picking after Atlanta that year. He said, "But I promise you, one day you'll be a Raider." And I was like, dude, that stuck out my chest. Owner of the Oakland Raiders is saying, telling me that I'm going to be a Raider one day. I was like, dude, all right. So, that was a fond moment. And then in '96, when it happened, I came out and we were still practicing in El Segundo in Los Angeles at the time. We had a mini camp. I remember running out the locker room, going to the mini camp, and saw Mr. Davis. And the great thing about Mr. Davis is that he knew more personal information about his players than people give him credit for. I mean, he would come up to me and talk to me about my wife and my kids by name, before he would ask me, "How you doing?"
Yep.
And that was like night and day. I didn't have that experience when I was in Atlanta.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, yep.
But this was an owner who knew his players and cared about his players and cared about their well-being. So to ask, a family, "Yo, BD, how's your wife? How's your son? And call them by name. I mean, you want to play hard. You want to play hard for somebody right there.
There's no inkling of doubt that I am supposed to be here.
That's exactly right. True story.
Especially when the coach and the owner is calling you by name, addressing your family. That means they care about you, and that's very rare to find.
It's very rare to find, and it's very important when you talk about your attitude of coming to work.
Yes.
Because it's not painful.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, all right, let's go. Let's get this. Win, lose, or draw. I mean, the first couple of years, we weren't that successful.
Right.
Then we got Gruden, started turning things around, and then we went on a tremendous run, and I'm thankful for that run. I wish they could have capitalized with us winning the Super Bowl, because I think that defines legendary status. But, for the most part, playing in the Super Bowl was a tremendous time out. And, I guess my only regret is that my youngest kids weren't there to see it. They only saw it on TV or memories, stuff like that. So, but it is what it is. I'm happy. I'm thankful to be a Raider and thankful to have my history with them.
Well, we thankful for you, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Whose name top 3 best defensive ends or defensive linemen you've played against?
Ooh, that's it, man.
Let's go.
That's so. I would say my top 3 would be in no particular order, but I'll start with the best. Minister of Defense, Reggie White.
Okay.
There was never a guy I played against who could complement power and speed and technique as well as he did. He was a true student of the game and a true warrior. And then after that, I would say, as far as nastiness and tenacity, Kevin Green. Going up against Kevin Green, dude would not, may he rest in heaven too. Kevin was the type of guy that if I had the fortune of getting him on the ground, he tried to crawl to the quarterback. He wouldn't stop. He had one of those motors. And I know you played against guys like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, dude.
He's like a zombie.
Yeah, exactly. What is wrong with you? You know what I'm going to say? But, and then one of my closest friends and a defensive end who really taught me a lot about the game was also no longer with us is Chris Dolman. Chris Dolman was another one.
He was a great one.
Chris was just so smooth. He was like Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith was slippery, and there's no doubt about it. It's the best way I can describe Bruce Smith. But Chris was just so smooth and fluid. He was a tall, long guy, so I wasn't really chasing like an outside linebacker or anything like that. But he was just so smooth with his moves and really taught me a lot about how to be a more effective tackle than some of the other guys I played against.
Talk about the guy we have now, Maxx Crosby.
The Condor.
What do you see in the Condor?
So smooth. He's another one that's really smooth to watch. He's really fluid because everything he does is immediate, right now, and effective to where you have to know where number 98 is on the field. And that's a reward, a payoff for him.
Yeah.
4th round draft choice, comes into the league, has some off the field issues, which he sorts out. Now he's become a family man. Now he's become, now he's become the picture of the franchise. That's hard to do.
Right.
You know this.
Yes.
Playing professional sports, you know how hard it is. But it's also hard to live up to the expectations time in and time out. So one thing that you can rely on, one thing that I've come to rely on, especially covering him in his short career, is that he's going to be there.
Yeah.
And he's going to be that impact player.
Yeah.
So as an offensive lineman, there were a number of guys that I played against. Most notably, the one that we saw all the time was Junior Seau. Junior Seau was that it factor for the Chargers back then because he was that impact player. You had to know where 55 was at all time. Mm-hmm. We had special packages every time we played the Chargers. Find 55. Where's 55? Call him out. And that's where Maxx is right now. You watch other opposing offenses go up against him, they're going to double team and trip him, take him out of the equation, which is also the part of what I tend to lean on Maxx about. That's his level of accountability. If everybody's focused on me, there's got to be somebody else who'll be able to do something and make a play. There's got to be there's another opportunity for someone. That's accountability. You see what I'm saying? Do your job at the highest level, then hopefully the rest of your teammates get in line and be able to be as an impactful player as you are.
Oakland, LA, Vegas. You've experienced all 3.
I never thought Vegas was going to be a possibility, but it sure is a welcome possibility. I mean, a welcome alternative because Allegiant is beautiful.
It is.
And the greatest reward as a Raider walking through Allegiant is that this is our home.
This is your home.
Didn't have that in LA.
Yep.
Didn't have that in Oakland. We had to share. It was other people's, but LA it was sharing with USC. More, that was already established. Oakland, A's. Seeing Allegiant and seeing the presence that the team has here, there's something about Allegiant that is just so daggone beautiful.
It has it. Talk to us and talk to the nation about, because we got to have mental toughness too, as fans and supporters, because our energy matters, right?
No doubt. It's tough, BD. I mean, look, you played the game at the highest level. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? It might have been a different sport, but it's still the same. It's a game.
Yeah.
It's a game that we grew up playing as kids, right? And we translate to doing it as adults where it becomes a job. The mental toughness comes in. It really doesn't matter your record. It matters your willingness to learn how to be a pro. And that is different. That designation is different for everyone. We've got guys, guys that are out there that'll play through their second contract and they want to hang up their cleats because they want to go into music production or they want to go make movies and stuff like that. That was different than my time and even the time before me. Because the time before me, the generation before me, they didn't make as much money as, say, I did or my generation. So a lot of the times those guys had second jobs just to survive and feed their family, right? So you look at the evolution of the athlete. And I know you see this because you cover basketball and you do basketball.
Yeah.
You're a basketball player. You were at the pinnacle of success as far as your generation, what you could do. But to be that professional, to walk in that gymnasium, to walk on that practice field, to walk on that field in Legion every Sunday or Monday or whatever it is, the game time, to go about it and to have a high enough respect where you sit there and say, I'm going to do the best I can every time. It's hard, especially when it does not translate into wins. See what I'm saying? That's the most difficult part about it. But it's also the part about being a pro. Yes. To be a professional. You're getting paid to do this. So you have a responsibility and a level of accountability as a professional to give me your best effort. And there are times where you don't always see it.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one who's graded. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the one who judges me.
I do want to piggyback off of that, because what you're saying is like being a professional is totally different than playing pro football. Being a professional is like, how can I get there? How can I align and structure like this is your life, this is your job, you do this because you love it. And I would say, just as the times have evolved, right? We played basketball because we loved basketball and we wanted attention, right? Because you want a ball, because you want the accolades. And it was harder to check out because you were always trying to chase something greater than yourself.
True story.
I think nowadays it's harder to figure out, what does being a professional mean? It's reaching your maximum potential, right? But to your point, what you were saying, these young athletes have so many opportunities to check out.
Right.
And if you're trying to be the greatest you want to be, you have to time your checkouts and your vacations. You can't check out during the season.
Right.
And so with all these distractions, I think that's the difference between when people say, oh, you're playing for the love of the game, right? And you're getting paid to play.
I've got 3 sons. All 3 of my sons have played sports. But I've always tried to stress to them, I don't care about the sports. I care about the education, because this is something they can't ever take away from you.
Right.
See what I'm saying? No matter how hard things are, you could have a broken knee. You can, may he rest in peace. Jim Otto was one of my greatest heroes, because he was that man who put everything down on the line for the Raiders. That's why Pops is synonymous with me when I think of Raiders. And you talk about the other greats along the lines, the Art Shells, the Gene Upshaws. I mean, the list goes on and on. Players and stuff like that. But there's something that resonates with me every time I put on these colors. Every time I, Raider Nation flag, whatever it is, it's important to me because I believe in the entity that is the Raiders. You see, there's something that is very, very, very special to me. And so what I try to do in my life, and what I'm doing now with the media, is try to carry over that passion to the fans, portray it to the fans, and more importantly, give them, a sign of hope that things are going to turn around. Everybody wants to win.
Right.
Everybody wants to win. There's no one who comes into the season like, man, we're going to lose every damn game, and I ain't give a damn. You know what I mean? But you talk about the people who spend their hard-earned money to come here to support this team, or whether they do it from their man cave at home, where they come to Legion Stadium. There's a passion that resonates with the silver and black. And as a former player, I try to exude that passion and try to put it out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The legend, Lincoln Kennedy. I'm protecting the right side. I got it on lock. Raider Nation, thank you for the history, man.
So what I do.
Always thank you for the knowledge. We got to have you back. We out. See y'all next time.
My man, game plan.
This guy right here.
I'll be the rim protector. You do your thing. I'll be the rim protector. I'm snatching those rebounds.
You make me want to play quarterback. I'm like,